From the outside, Tessa looks like an ordinary teenager. She is going to college and is passionate about photography. The only thing that darkens Tessa's life is the lack of understanding between her and her adoptive parents, Vicky and Mel. But in fact, a severe tragedy happened to the girl. The accident that almost killed Tessa took her lover's life, and now all that remains is to remember how happy they were and mourn their fate, lying in a hospital bed. A memory takes Tessa back 108 days when she went to the local cinema to watch a French movie and found that it didn't come with subtitles. Sitting in an empty room, the girl looks around in confusion and sees another visitor, a guy who sits closer and begins to translate the character's lines. After the end of the tape, young people willingly talk about cinema, literature, and love stories. Both get absolute pleasure from the conversation, but in the end, the guy says goodbye, finally saying that his name is Skylar. Returning to the present, Tessa again feels the pain of loss. Skylar dreams about her at night, takes the girl out of the ward, and wants to take her somewhere, but Tessa wakes up and is only surprised at what she saw in a dream. Hoping to cope with mental anguish, the girl cuts her hair, but the change of image does not make her different. Tessa sobs in pain, locking herself in the shower. Suddenly, she hears a noise in her room, and when she returns to the room, she sees that the phone, which had broken in the accident, suddenly started working. And among the incoming messages there is a strange landscape photo sent from an unknown number. Doris, a neighbor in the hospital who writes books about the dead, says that Skylar is trying to reach out to her beloved because her grief is a beacon for the guy. Tessa's thoughts go back to the past again. 102 days before the accident, she continues to search for her style in photography, considers entering the School of Design, and goes with her friend Shannon to shoot rowing competitions. On one of the boats, she sees Skylar. The young man is glad to meet her, and even more than Tessa had hoped. When Skylar's mother comes to congratulate him on his victory, she tells the girl that her son tirelessly told her about meeting with an unusual stranger in the cinema and searched for her through the internet. Tessa and Skylar drive around the area, wandering into an abandoned honeymoon hotel, the Love Land, laughing and waltzing in the middle of a vast dusty hall. Despite the desolation, the hotel retains its romantic aura, and both dissolve into it in a passionate kiss. In the evening, Skylar takes the girl home and says that he will stay in her city until the end of the summer, and then he will leave to study. Tessa laughs it off, but this news is painfully given in her heart. When she enters the house, the girl cries. She likes the young man very much, and Tessa fears for their future. Tessa has been released from the hospital and is returning to school. The teacher advises her to express her suffering through a photo, but the girl cannot do this. Everything around reminds her of Skylar, and the pain does not decrease. As a result, the camera falls into the lake. In the dream, Tessa keeps seeing her lover, who hugs her and says,
"I'm still here, Tess."
When the girl wakes up, she finds undeveloped pictures in her darkroom, tries to develop them, and sees the sign Love Land in the first photo. She sees them holding each other's hands in the second picture, and in the third one, she and Skylar before kissing. Tessa begins to read Doris books, watches YouTube videos, and learns from other people's experiences with the otherworldly. Along the way, she recalls how, 65 days before the accident, she showed Skylar her photo lab, and he managed to discern the hidden meaning in Tessa's pictures to understand what the girl wanted to express. The guy believes that she sees what is not available to others. Tessa is touched. She goes to see Skylar's home and shares the secret of how she ended up being adopted. This honesty creates a moment of special closeness that binds the couple even stronger. In the morning, Tessa prepares coffee for her stepmother and speaks kindly to her, delighting the woman. She never expected this to happen. Tessa and Skylar spend the whole day at a picnic by the lake. The young man teaches her to row and ride in a boat. Everything is fine, except for one thing. When Skylar, in a moment of tenderness, presses the girl to him and confesses his love, Tessa is silent. She has strong feelings, but does not know how to express them. However, love already lives in the girl's heart, and, once on the shore, she throws herself into Skylar's arms. Young people make love, unable to tear themselves away from each other. In the present, Tessa tells Shannon that Skylar is still around, and he wants to see her one last time before she leaves. However, her friend does not believe her. The girls came to take the test, and suddenly the pencil in Tessa's hand began to move chaotically, drawing strange zigzags on the paper. Then all the mobile phones in the audience turned off for the duration of the exam and started playing Skylar and Tessa's song. The girls' memories are transferred to the past, 11 days before the accident. At this time, Skylar brings her to the exhibition, where among the pictures of professionals, Tessa notices her photo, which she gave to the guy. The picture is on sale for $1,000, and there are already 2 requests for it. Contrary to Skylar's expectations, Tessa becomes furious. She demands to take a photo down because she doesn't want it to hang on a stranger's wall. The couple quarrels because Tessa cannot express her feelings, cannot succumb to them, and is afraid to believe in a joint future with a guy. At home, the girl asks her stepmother to pose for a photo. Tessa talks to her about love. The girl admits she is afraid to get hurt and tells Skylar about her feelings. Vicky advises her to muster up the courage and say the cherished words. Without learning to express her emotional experiences, the girl will not be happy. Shannon wants to help her friend summon Skylar's spirit in the present tense. Together, the girls experimented with the Ouija board, mirrors, and white noise from the TV but failed. A frustrated Tessa drives home. Before she can get out of the car, the navigator builds a path that strangely resembles the zigzags she drew on a piece of dough. Tessa rushes to the indicated address, where she finds Doris, who has been discharged from the hospital. The woman says that Skylar is still in this world and Tessa needs to see him. If the girl goes to the place where the 2 of them were very happy, this will become possible, but you need to be careful, otherwise, Tessa will fall into the other world, which she cannot return back. Mentally, the girl is transferred to the past 5 days before the accident. At Shannon's party, she learns that Skylar will leave for a whole year to support her father, who is now very ill. The guy does not see this as a big problem, confident that their love will be able to overcome all difficulties, but Tessa thinks otherwise. She sees in what happened a kind of sign. The girl finally decided to open her heart to someone and received a blow. Tessa is crushed, sobs burst from her chest, but the girl is convinced that she and Skylar have no future. Having made an effort on herself, she breaks off the relationship and leaves. Currently, Tessa steals her stepmother's credit card, buys powerful photography equipment, and roams places where she feels happy with Skylar. She takes a photo at the cinema, on the beach, and in a cafe on the beach, but nothing helps until the girl ends up in an abandoned honeymoon hotel, where she once kissed her beloved for the first time. Having fallen into a strange state, she sees Skylar in the mirror, who is desperately trying to reach the girl and cannot. With the last effort, the guy broke the glass. But at that moment, the police burst into the room. The parents noticed the loss of the card and, worrying about the adopted daughter, filed a wanted list. After an emotional conversation with Vicky and Mel, Tessa collapses. Due to excessive effort, her stitches have come apart, and the girl's life is again in danger. She is left overnight in the hospital, but Tessa's health is the least of her worries at this point. She can't wait to try to reunite with Skylar again, and this time the guy himself appears in the ward. Without any action from Tessa, the phone connects the girl with Shannon, and she, having heard from her friend about what happened, rushes to the rescue. She manages to get Tessa out of the hospital in a wheelchair while Skylar manipulates medical devices and electricity, distracting the hospital staff. The girls are about to go to the lake where Tessa and Skylar are boating, but the car goes out of control. Shannon is frightened, but Tessa asks her to let go of the steering wheel. She believes that her beloved is driving the car. The car brings the girls to the place where the fatal accident occurred. Tessa loses consciousness and falls as soon as her feet touch the ground. Out of her body, she observes her memories from the sidelines. The girl sees how she found Skylar on the night of the accident, reconciled with him, and confessed her love. Past and present merge, and now Tessa sees the guy in front of her. In reality, ambulance doctors are trying to save her body, but Tessa's soul is now with her beloved. They hug tightly, rejoicing at the meeting, and Skylar takes the girl to Paris, black and white, like old photographs, and then to a house by the sea. Sitting in a sun-drenched place next to her loved one, Tessa hears her foster mother calling her name and asking her to come back. Tears run down Tessa's cheeks. She tells Skylar that she loves him because now she knows how to experience strong feelings and is not afraid to admit them to herself, but she still wants to live on Earth. It's hard for Skylar to lose his beloved, but the guy lets her go, promising to miss the girl. Tessa reminds him that love never dies, and Skylar tells him they will have a happy ending. After the last tender kiss, she wakes up in a hospital room next to her foster parents. Time passes. Tessa formed a relationship with Vicky and Mel and applied to a design school. At the presentation of her works, she shows photos with Skylar and says that every person has their ghosts, but you can't run from them, and you can't push them away. You need to accept them as part of yourself and learn how to live with them.